Now by Ari Fleischer, former White House press secretary under President George W. Bush, Jason Chaffetz, former House Oversight Committee chairman, and Jessica Tarlov, director of research at Bustle.com, all are Fox News contributors. Ari, let me start with you. You have worked in the West Wing. What do you read here in these tea leaves?
Well, let me make 2 points. Number one, most Americans don't know the names of anybody who works at the White House other than the president and the vice president, and they don't care. They just care about the decisions that are made. Second point, this is one chaotic White House. And I have never in my life, as much as I've gotten used to the chaos of the Trump White House, seen a first lady have to go public and issue a statement. I'm just stunned that this wasn't handled privately, that it reached the boiling point where she felt the need to go out and issue something publicly.
Yeah, but she's far from the first lady, from the first lady, Ari, who has expressed her displeasure. Hillary fired the entire travel team, and there are other examples.
But she just did it, and it was not. She put out a press statement urging for it to be done, and that backfired on Hillary. My point is here: first ladies have tremendous power. They have the power of talking to the president, and then the president makes that power felt. In this instance, I don't know why she had to go public. It tells me she went to the president, he didn't do it, and yet she still had to go public. That's chaotic.
Jason?
Well, look, I'm with the First Lady on this one. It's rare to none that the First Lady says much of anything, and it must have been awfully bad. I think it also is very telling that this comes roughly a month after she took this trip into Africa. And it may be more about the aftermath. I mean, they may be squabbling about a seat on an airplane was one of the reports, but how that went down and what did and did not happen, if somebody wasn't truthful, if somebody was maybe exaggerating what happened or changing their story, you very quickly in a small office like the West Wing, you start to understand that maybe that gets under the skin of somebody. So I think Melania Trump, I think she has earned the trust of so many of us because she does speak so infrequently. To make this hard stand and make such a statement is very compelling. And I think it's probably best that they separate and go different ways.
It sounds from some of these reports, Jessica, like she may have been speaking for other people as well. There were reports that this woman, Mira, was, sort of bullying people, talking down to them. And as Leland rightly pointed out in his intro here, sometimes there are stories that get out there because other people want other people to be fired. So they start saying nasty things about them. And, time will tell.
Absolutely. We certainly know about leaking in this White House for a certain purpose. And to Jason's point, we don't really know what happened aboard that flight or on that 2-week trip. But obviously, the First Lady was extremely displeased with her interactions with this woman. Bloomberg is also reporting this evening that she had a bad reputation for being inflexible within the West Wing. And when you think about how chaotic and kind of fly by the seat of their pants this administration is, her kind of more George Bush type approach to working in the West Wing, that's where she came from originally, a few years back with Ari, I guess, might not have fit in with the vibe of this White House generally, and not just been a problem that Melania had with her.
I want to play a soundbite from my interview a couple weeks ago with Kirstjen Nielsen. Watch this.
Ambassador Bolton has a big job to do. He and I work very closely together.
So you don't think that John Bolton is in the president's ear saying, we're not tough enough on the border, you got to make a change at Homeland?
I do not think he is, no.
So the big question here, for America, as Ari pointed out, most people don't care about the deck chairs when they move around on the deck. But they do care about Homeland Security, and they do care about who's running the country, Jason. So when you look at this administration, you look at the cabinet, do you think changes need to be made, or is this not appropriate?
Well, the president's taken a very tough stance on immigration. And, when you talk to people kind of within the bowels of the organization, there's a lot of frustration that maybe Secretary Nielsen has not moved things fast enough, moved them aggressively enough.
Done? I mean, Congress really has to make these changes.
Oh, yeah.
She's not going to pay for the wall. She's not going to build the wall herself. Congress needs to make these changes. I don't know how much more she could have done. What do you think she should have done, Jason?
But I also think that the secretary does have to go to Congress and help make that case and have them understand what's going on and not going on at the border and the imperative that she needs. Yeah, look, I'm very supportive on the outside, but behind the scenes, there's obviously something that's bothering the president because it's not moving fast enough.
What do you think, Ari?
Well, I think the president is perfectly entitled to make whatever changes he wants. It's part of the tradition of midterms. But here's my advice. If you make a change, have the replacement ready to go the same day you make the announcement. Because otherwise you create these vacuums. And in Washington, the vacuum is filled by nothing but nastiness and negativity. But if you announce X is out, Y is in, you've now created a debate over the qualifications of why. Typically, that's a stronger, better debate for you to be involved in. So make whatever moves you want to make, but then have those names ready to roll same day.
Yeah, great point. And everybody obviously knows that they serve at the pleasure of the president. And it's my experience that when you watch these changes happen, it's a big dust up for about 24 hours, and then everybody gets used to the new person, and that person steps in front of the microphone, and everyone accepts that person as the new one that they are hearing from, Jessica. And yet I hear, you know, all across many other media outlets, every third day pretty much, that there is complete meltdown, that the White House is melting down, that is practically not functioning, and yet it seems to go on.
It does seem to go on, but that might just be in meltdown mode, and they might be really good at handling it. To your question that you posed to Jason about what else she could have done, I think that the president has not enjoyed some of her media appearances, like with our own Chris Wallace, where he really pressured her about the caravan, talking about the women and the babies who are in there, and the president's language that these are MS-13 members, gang members, they're drug trafficking, they're bringing an infestation, et cetera. She also struggled during the family separation policy, not her first outing, but when she had to come out again and face the press on this issue. He apparently refers to her as Bushy. He has problems with members of the George W. Bush administration. And I think that he might be looking at someone like a Chris Kobach, if I'm pronouncing that properly, from Kansas, who didn't win his race, someone that's a hardliner on immigration who also shares his point of view about voter fraud, which has been debunked. So I think that he is looking for someone who is more hardline if he is going to be replacing her.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Great to see you tonight.
Thank you.